All right, we're just rocking right into it. Yeah, so much for the intro. That's the way things go sometimes, but yeah, we'll see. Hopefully the match, hopefully the espresso match, hopefully there's not a sign of what's to
Yeah.
come in this 3:30 a.m. start with Juve and Cagliari, but we got full panel here right now. Luca, we got Lucci, we got Trim, and we're going to talk about all the latest news around Juventus. There's quite a bit going on. Obviously, still a lot of excitement in the aftermath to what went down with Leipzig. All right, and we're going to cover it all and then get ready for this matchup. First off, fellas, how you all doing? Luca, that sun, man, is that bugging you or what?
It's freaking driving me crazy. I'm sorry.
Want some
You might have some
sunglasses there, bud.
agitated takes there. Lucci, how you doing?
I'm great. It's a beautiful Saturday evening, and I'm ready for tomorrow morning. Let's get it.
There you go. There you go. Trim, how you doing?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, I can't complain. So looking forward to tomorrow's match. I might have to pull the old bring the phone onto the hockey bench tomorrow and in between shifts, just check the game out. So that should be interesting.
There you go. There you go. Beauty, beauty. Different little time slot here. Obviously, everything had to be adjusted with this espresso match, but there is a watch along 3:30 a.m. my time. I got nothing else I'm doing, so might as well. Let's rock it. Let's rock it. But we got a ton in the news to tackle. The first one, obviously, Paul Labille Pogba, and everyone getting excited. Trim, oh my god, I was just waiting for it because this guy, the hope that this guy has is just burning strong. And for me, I'm not gonna come anywhere near that thing because it's like we forgot this guy's body couldn't hold up worth a shit before we even got to the doping thing. But Trim, come on, man, you're first up. Let's go with Paul. What would you ideally like? What's your perfect scenario in this?
Trim's
Okay,
gonna say give him the whole world at this point. Sorry.
yeah, no,
Go ahead, bud.
that's the thing. And no, in all seriousness, what would be like the most ideal situation is like if he did stick around for even just the season and let him train, see what happens. But he would be, like I said, like fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh option, right? But based on what's being reported now by Skira, it looks like they're just waiting to cut bait. And it is what it is. It would have been nice to see him with these guys pair up, and like I said, just even spot duty minutes would have been nice. But yeah, who knows what he's been doing this whole time? Like, has he been even training at all? Like, we don't even know, right? He could be just sitting on his couch for all we know, right? But no, it would have been nice to see him play some minutes, but it's not going to happen.
I think there's a lot. Like, I think when the name Paul Pogba comes up, everyone's immediate gut reaction and feelings fly back to 2014.
Yeah,
But that's what I really, really feel like. For the guy, I'm happy. I'm happy because 4 years was just absurd. And we always knew it wasn't going to be 4 years because of all the cases ahead of it that obviously got reduced times and whatnot. There was no way he was going to get 4 years. So I'm happy for him. I just think with us, it's far from an ideal situation. Like, the salary is first and foremost a big problem. But let's say he settled the wages. I still have this much faith in the guy's body.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Zero
it's fair.
faith in his body. His ability, his talent that everybody keeps putting in the comments and everything, like on all the social media videos and everything. Yeah, I'll never, never, ever doubt the guy's ability or talent. I just have zero faith in his body before this all kind of went down. So I don't think there's anything much happening there. Motta, in the press conference ahead of this game, he said he was asked about it, obviously, and he just goes, yeah, we'll figure out what you do there. He said he was a great player, but yeah, we don't know what we have there, and we'll evaluate him. So, hey, we'll see what goes down. I honestly, with what Giuntoli's doing on the contract situation, I can't see him being stoked that now all of a sudden this big fee is back into play starting. And I don't think he gets the full fee when he starts training with the team in January. I think it's in March when he's available for games that his contract then picks up for the months following. We'll have to wait and see. But all signs are pointing to Pog gone. Okay? Pog gone. Pog gone.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of Bremer, Motta also spoke about Bremer. Something I said we would have to do is kind of look at this by committee. in kind of dealing with it, and everybody's going to have to kind of step up. He said the exact same things, but we're getting some names. Everybody was jumping on the free agent talk. We were hearing, Ramos, we were hearing Matip, etc. But Matip's got physical problems. Ramos is a prick, but still, it's almost like that prick you'd love to have on your team, even if it was going to be as a third string, fourth string for minutes, whatever. But Bokema and Jorel Ato, their names thrown out there today. Apparently, this 18-year-old Ato, Juntoli's been scouting for months. I went on the record last show saying I'd probably stay put until January before making any decisions. I don't really care who the names are, but January still, as it sits right now, if everything stayed the same, my top priority is the attack. Is there anybody that disagrees and would say defense has now become the top priority for a pickup in January?
No, I'm still on board with that.
Yeah, still on board with attack. Everybody's still on board with attack.
You have no one there. You have no one to cover Vlahovic. And Milik, I think they announced today, 3 more months on top of after his surgery or whatever?
Milik's going to be 3 months recovery. So this guy has filled in so far for nobody but DeCilio. Okay? So far he's taken over at J Medical.
That's a compliment to DeCilio.
Jesus. Okay?
Yeah.
So he's taken over DeCilio's spot. That bed, didn't even get a chance to get cold there. Milik took over. As far as Luka Jovic,
Jesus.
that so that name getting thrown out there. Thoughts on that one?
No.
Hard no.
Hard no. Yeah,
I think my favorite
absolutely
comment
not.
was Luka Novic. Okay, so in the comments, flat out no. I said in my update video, what's the janitor at Continasa doing? Okay, because he's ahead of this guy. Okay, I saw maybe two comments across all the platforms that were actually for this move. I'm okay with a cheap deal or whatnot, but I just think this guy ain't gonna be it. We're starting to hear that Mota's closer to unleashing Yildiz as a 9, because Vlahovic isn't gonna be playing every single game. He can't be doing it. Nico's hurt until the end of this month.
Yep.
Yildiz is probably your next best option. Do we all agree on that?
If Weah was healthy, he would be my second option. But until that guy finally gets his shit together, then it's unfortunately got to be Yildiz. And I don't really like that either, but you got no options.
Is there anybody for changing the formation, changing the setup? How do you get around it if you're not going to try with Yildiz up top? Go with a two-striker system? 3-5-2? Switch it?
What about 4-4-2?
I hate 4-4-2s.
It's so bland.
PTSD.
But 3-5-2, you kind of lose out on your wingers. But Yildiz is still around. You're not going to play Conceição as a wing back. Unless Cope Miners is going to be one of these other forwards. When you want
to play Yildiz with Coop up top?
I know Lou's gonna like this, but if Bremer wasn't hurt, I'd say put Gatti as striker. That guy wants to be a striker so badly.
What are we talking about here?
What are Luca?
Last season, you forget he had more goals than
I think that sunlight was bleeding into your brain and burning your brain, boy. Gatti as a striker.
It was a joke, but I'm glad you guys are very serious today. At least we know there's no messing around on this podcast.
Yeah.
You're not serious about Gatti going up there as striker, so stop kidding around here, okay?
Had me fooled, bud.
Listen, I think if the whole this scenario that's been put out there, go into a 3-5-2, okay? If the whole purpose is to get Vlahovic rest, that really doesn't achieve anything.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. And if your strengths, and one of Mota's strengths is how you're going to utilize those wingers in creating these odd man rushes, getting 1v1s out there, especially with a guy like Conceição out there, changing the setup and going away from one of the strengths isn't the plan for me.
Yeah.
So
how's the next gen kid? Can he give some minutes?
Oh, that's gonna give acid to a lot of people from last season.
man, somebody's gonna have to get called
Yeah,
up, or something's
exactly.
gonna happen. Milik's gone 3 months. You can't just get Vlahovic. Weah, we tried up there in one game. It was okay, but like nowhere to the point of giving you confidence in doing this regularly.
I say this seriously now. This is not a joke like before. I think for me, Coop would actually be above Yildiz because he kind of played as a striker for Atalanta last season. And it's Atalanta, right? Their formation is all over the place and they play their own style. That's valid, but he did play as a false nine and it wasn't terrible. It wasn't great, but I'd prefer him over Yildiz. I think Yildiz has the pace for the wing.
Yeah, give me Ballo. I agree with these comments. Bring me Ballo for 6 months. Absolutely. Do it. Do it just for the shits, man. Do it.
He hates us. Fuck that.
For the shits is right, man. The shits.
He is.
I get the shits seeing Ballo with.
You can play him against all the lower teams. Let Vlahovic rest. Oh, buddy, that's hype. Do it. Sign me up.
No chance, Lucci. No chance. What? Holy smokes. This time slot's just wild, man. Dude. What's going on here with this time slot?
I love it.
It's Loopy Saturday over here. So Angele could go out there. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. It's going to be interesting. Yildiz, I think, would actually do just fine playing like a false nine up top there and everything. But again, it's going to have to work well with whoever plays the 10 spot. If it's going to be Cope Miners, I have no fear in Cope Miners advancing and them working out a decent partnership where he could take over. So if Yildiz shows, Cope Miners will then attack the space and get into the area. He does that anyways, and he has been getting better at that over the past couple games. So I think this whole idea that we're talking about with Yildiz going in there, I'm absolutely fine with it. And I would definitely play Yildiz up there before I played Weah.
Really?
In a heartbeat. I wouldn't even think twice about that.
I disagree. I just think Weah's characteristics fit a little better to the striker role.
What are those characteristics?
He's definitely a little more physical than Yildiz is, and he's got more pace.
I'm more physical than Yildiz. The guy's
true. That's why Yildiz as a false nine, okay, maybe, but as a striker, he's not winning you nothing. He's gonna get bullied all the time. He's better coming in off the flank.
He's played it before, and Weah has never up until that match we played way up top.
Weah played it in past teams.
I think he did.
No, Weah played everywhere on the right and everywhere on the left. He never played as a center forward.
Interesting.
I think he played it for the U.S.
I'll have to fact check that out.
Oh, men's national team, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
So that I can't comment on. But
he did.
As far as his club career goes, he's never played it. And I can't speak to the men's national team because, I wouldn't know on that front.
No one cares about them, so that's
why. But Yildiz has played there before. I think, actually, if we're going to talk about characteristics, I think Yildiz's technical ability being that much better, I would actually have more trust in him going there. And pace, Weah is going to beat a lot of guys for pace, but is that really going to be make or break in most Serie A games at that position?
Probably not.
It's probably going to be stronger out on the wing, I feel like. But from a center forward role, I don't really know if that's make or break. I think Yildiz's technical ability, the ability to play probably better in terms of 1-2s with a guy like Cope Miners and everything.
Okay, yes.
I'm leaning that way.
I just feel like you're wasting some of his better characteristics by bringing him into the middle instead of having him on the left. I feel like that's where he's most comfortable, and that's where he's at his best. You know what I mean?
I agree on that point.
But you can't say until you at least see some minutes of it and you see what it's all about. So maybe.
Yeah, not getting a vice to Dusan this summer, this coming in from Forza Juve was the big mistake. Milik has a big history on injuries, and for him to be the only striker to rotate with, this is not even a hindsight thing, because we all kind of said it would have been nice to get. I said, it's skinny. I said, what if? Because last season we lost Keane and Milik for a period.
And Vlahovic was hurt at 1.2, wasn't he?
Vlahovic was hurt at 1.2, so I'm like, man, we're going in with just Vlahovic and Milik. I don't know what this idea was. And I said, Mota's idea must be they would be okay in utilizing one of these other guys. Everybody was throwing Nico Gonzalez's name out when we signed him. I never had faith in that, like in that role. And I don't really ultimately have much faith in Weah in that role, or even Yildiz to that fact until we see it.
Yeah.
Right? But we got Cagliari up. Would that be the game you would experiment with?
I think if you get 2 goals up, then maybe. I wouldn't
With
do it
a
off
lead.
the bat.
But yeah, not coming out of the gate, right?
Exactly.
No, like
No, the points are too important. You need to
right now you need those. You need to get those 3 points first.
Yeah.
If you have a solid lead with half an hour left or something, then maybe I would consider. Yeah,
exactly.
Pinamonti, and to Cugino Eddie's point, he was always in those daily update videos like Pinamonti, go grab Pinamonti, cheap.
I don't mind that, but
would have been fine as a third option. And then with what happened with Milik, he would get his minutes, and matches against certain opponents would be perfect for Pinamonti, to be honest.
Then are we going to get overpriced on another young Italian that, may play once every 2 weeks? Like, is it worth it?
Well, we'll get overpriced on everything, but I mean, it's still
Italians
ultimately
more
would
than
have been
anything, though.
Would have
You're
been
better off
cheap,
going
right?
outside.
And this is all speculation. Like, we don't know what the hell the deal would have been, right? But after Cagliari, you don't play in the league again until the 19th. So this is pretty much it for before the international break. Do you experiment this? Do you keep going to your red-hot striker? Vlahovic is now, coming off that Leipzig match. You just keep going there. He's also not going to international duty.
That's what I was going to say.
Start him.
Start him.
Play him the whole game.
Let's go. 3 points. We need to get after it. I'm with you guys. I'm with you guys 100%. Speaking of international duty, that came up, and obviously there was a lot of fans not happy with Locatelli's exclusion. Obviously, Gatti's exclusion with the Azzurri. I personally said I couldn't care less about Nations League, you guys, and I'm happy. True. The less players we send to any national side, I'm happy, especially with what went down with Glace and Bremer. Okay, but this is the list of the guys taken off. Di Gregorio, Cambiaso, Fagioli. Savona with the U21s. Yildiz with Turkey. Danilo with Brazil. Cabal, Colombia. McKennie and Weah both going with the States. Cope Miners with the Dutch. And U21s, Belgium, Imbangula, and Sweden, Ruhi.
Mm-hmm. It's a long list.
That's a long list. And my God, that's... Yeah, we'll be keeping a close eye and making sure all these guys come back healthy, because it's going to be all hands on deck.
Yeah,
right?
I'm surprised Danilo still is getting called up by Brazil, to be honest with you. He doesn't play much, so I'm like, that to me was a little bit weird. Again,
that might be inexperience.
That affects us, but it's just more, I'm a little surprised that he got called up.
I mean, one more injury
what would be silly is the fact that you're surprised because he's not getting minutes, with us. He gets called up. Imagine he plays, imagine he gets hurt, and we would need him in the aftermath of what's going on with Bremer.
Well,
so this whole thing, like, it's dicey, it's sketchy. So with the whole Locatelli thing, of course I believe he should be there. I said that at the Euros. Like, it's ridiculous, the names that are going on above him. Now he's in form, he's playing well, really well. There is something there, in my personal opinion, between Spalletti and Locatelli.
Has to be.
Yeah, there's got to be something there. It's not making sense, but you know what? For us, it's better. And Nations League means nothing to me.
True.
Nothing to me. There you go. There you go. But yeah, I totally feel that Spalletti and Loca, there's something going on there. But now, this whole thing coming off of Leipzig, Locatelli expected to get the start tomorrow. And there was a lot of question marks around the midfield and everything. But Luis wasn't on the first list. It was McKennie. McKennie's getting great reviews, and Malta comes out and just lays it on the line for McKennie, and just saying that tackle on Xavi Simons was as big, if not bigger, than Conceição's goal. And he said when you watch that tackle, that tells you everything about Weston McKennie and what he means to the club. And he just raved about how ecstatic he is to have this guy in his team. Man, just not a whole lot to say, man. Like, credit where it's due to McKennie for doing that. It doesn't change where I was at in the summer because the demands didn't make sense to me, But if a season continues like this, and he could be as important despite all the names that are there, yeah, maybe he could have been worth. Based on last season, I don't think he was worth, that type of pay grade. I would still argue right now he hasn't done any, he's been good, but not to the point of getting a big boost in pay. I still don't agree with that, because tomorrow, if he was going to get the start, I would have been against it again, because I don't think his qualities suit what we're going to get out of Cagliari.
Yep.
And I think someone more technical would be better in those games.
Yeah, I agree. Because we're going to face a low block. Let's just say it how it is.
Yeah.
We know what we're going to get, right?
Like, if it's going to be an open game like the Champions League was, and you need someone who's going to run his ass off, West is a great choice, and not Luis, right? But now that we know it's going to be a low block and we don't really need West is, 90 minutes of energy, we need that creative spark, and Luis has it. Let's all be honest here. So,
Yeah, and for Luis, you can't get a worse entrance into a game than that one against Leipzig. I mean,
was
brutal.
Poor guy.
Like,
He tossed right into
and that's
a fire.
just it. Like, the poor guy. Okay, yeah, and I was frustrated with the handball, obviously, but like, it doesn't get worse than that for making an entrance into a big Champions League game. But he gets a chance. He should get a chance to redeem himself tomorrow. The last time he started a game was Empoli, and he really didn't impress whatsoever. Most of his cameos have been good, though. Like, really good.
Yes.
I'm expecting a really good showing from him tomorrow against Cagliari.
He needs
and
it.
one of the things we all highlighted, we loved Malta in what he says before matches in the pressers. Like, he's just beautiful. And even Hanin right here is just saying the way Malta speaks with the heart emoji there. Like, this guy, we don't have backup players. I have no deputies. There are no deputies. Everyone is capable of starting. If you show me, you deserve to be.
Yep.
Holy smokes, man. Breath of fresh air. Like, love it. Fantastic. So, that's why I said the whole time I'm not really getting any concerns about players that we brought in that maybe aren't getting opportunities now that we feel should. Like, in the end, and this is something I said after Leipzig, we got to start trusting Malta more.
Yep.
So even if I say, like, I wouldn't start McKennie, but he decides he wants to start him tomorrow, I will have belief that it is for a reason and it's warranted.
I mean, how many games has it been this season, including Champions League? 9 or 8, not something like that?
Yeah, I think
Has
tomorrow's
he gotten anything,
seventh
regardless
game?
of how many games, has he gotten anything wrong yet? Where, like, after the final game has, like, the game's done, have we ever said he's gotten anything wrong?
I've said no, but some fans out there feel that there might have been issues with some of the draws in terms of the lineup. But for me personally, those weren't personnel issues. I was thinking it was more a Mota issue in terms of approach and the game and setup and plan. So I would say no, he hasn't gotten anything technically wrong with the lineup.
Then I have nothing but trust in him to keep doing what he's been doing. So,
and there you go.
Yeah.
So if we're going to do that, if he decides, McKennie's the guy tomorrow, I'm going to be like, okay, go for it. Because I do love what he's saying and giving everybody those shots. Are there any players for you personally, and we'll go around the horn here, that you do have concerns with? Easy, Luca.
I'm sorry.
Lucci, is there any player like Cabal? Do you have concerns with Cabal?
I mean, from what I saw, he looked fine. I mean, but it does seem like something else is not there, is why he's not playing. I don't know. What we saw from Rui was obviously he needs a little more time, and that's expected. He's a young kid, so give him some time. But I mean, everyone's kind of impressed me. Even like I said, Douglas Luiz kind of got tossed into that. That game was at a fiery pace when he got tossed into the mix there. Bad handball, unlucky, but like every other cameo he's had, he's been fine. So I think if once he gets a start, we'll get him rolling. That'll help the team a lot too. But
yeah,
we
got Matus coming in here saying I think Cabal is better than Savona.
Interesting.
So
I would agree with that.
Trim agrees with that. Luca,
Really?
You're kind of making a face there. You don't agree?
I agree, but it's I think the reasoning we're not seeing Cabal is because Mota likes Cambiaso there on that left side next to Yildiz. There's a
Yes.
reason. I think it's just simply Cambiaso being that better
I
option to
mean,
Cabal. That's it.
Cabal going forward hasn't totally impressed me though. I find him, he's got more speed. He's a little more stable defensively, but attacking, I don't know if he offers a whole lot.
But that's why that's why Cambiaso is
and that's
there.
might be why Mata says I think he sees him more as a center back compared to a fullback.
Yep.
With Cabal, I like Cabal. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm having a tough time really jumping on either side on this discussion with Cabal or Savona. And the reason is because Cabal is great from an effort, work rate perspective. He's got great pace. He works hard. Mm-hmm. He can bomb forward too. He made a lot of mistakes on the ball and the progression of the ball. Like a lot of errant passes in our half. And I think that might have contributed to shifting Cambiaso back over. And then I think it created a window for Savona.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Savona makes very few mistakes. Like very few mistakes.
Yeah.
It's a good problem to have.
It's a great problem. It's a great problem. But it highlights like, does this mean I'm concerned with Cabal moving forward? Absolutely not. Like I still have no concerns with him. And I think overall what I'm trying to get at is I feel like Mota's creating an old school Juve where it's next man up and every single guy you call upon is ready, understands what they have to do personally to help the team. And it's all about the team. So sacrifices will be made. And it's starting to get this vibe that even amongst the players, they're fine with the rotation. And it feels like nobody's really scoffing at subs. Nobody's really scoffing at starts or anything.
There's a lot of matches.
Yeah, it's the first time I think
they'll get their time.
It feels really smooth.
Mm-hmm. It feels smooth.
Go ahead, Luca.
I'm just getting to what you guys are saying. Like anytime there's a sub made, I don't feel like, oh, he's putting De Chilio on. You know, like it's not that. You know, it's like, oh, okay, he's putting Fagioli. Oh, okay, he's putting Gatti. Oh, he's putting Perin. Like at no point do I feel like we're dropping quality. Every guy's coming in and doing just as well, if not better.
Yeah.
So,
and maybe, just maybe, in Mota's own words, he told us about Cabal, seeing him as more of a center back. Those were his own words. So, will we get Cabal more now in rotation for giving Gatti and Kalulu breaks? Obviously, we're gonna have to see him more, right? And if we're talking about Cabal, there was a question in here. Do you think, do you think you'll see him more as an actual left back or more as a center back moving forward?
I think now you're going to see him more as a center back.
You think we're going to see him more as a center back?
I think so. Yeah. Because you
know
what?
Trim agrees. Lucas kind of seems like he disagrees.
Really?
Because I'm going back to what I said before. The fact we're not seeing, I think, Cabal now is because Cambiaso just is above him, and that's telling me that he's not willing to try Cabal on the right side. So in my mind,
he's a strong left-footed Cabal. He's not He's not right-footed.
So he's going to stay on that left. That's my thought, and he's going to stay as a left back because I don't think he's going to put him as a center back. I think he's going to stay on that left, and he's going to keep swinging those.
The only concern though is that like we've seen Kalulu's injury history, and that if he goes, like we need to preserve him when possible. So you would have to have Cabal slide into the left center back position. That would be my thought for him.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, so if you don't see him as a CB, Luca, then that means that when he comes in, Cabal, I guess you see Cambiaso sliding over to the right, because otherwise Cabal's not going to be on that right-hand side, right? So I think that's where like Lucci and I are both in agreement that him as a CB is just that extra guy to kind of take minutes away from a Kalulu Gatti when they need rest, because Bremer's not there as that option. But Tal's point, and Mota obviously clearly loves the versatility across the board for all these guys. Like even in the Champions League game, I was not paying the closest attention to Weston in terms of where he was positionally, but apparently at certain points of the game he's playing right back, which was really interesting because we saw it with Allegri last year, and he actually thrived in that position for a while. So like even to have Weston as an option on the right side to mix in there every once in a while with Savona in and out, because clearly we can all agree Cambiaso looks the strongest on the left. So if that's his natural position and his best position, keep him there. And you can always mix and rotate guys on the right side or even in the middle at center back. So it's nice to have that rotation and that option, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And at the end of the day, like, I'd probably say the wild card in all of this, and Cugino Eddie kind of coming in right on cue, Danilo and that renewal, that automatic renewal. So it's an automatic renewal, but it's got to be like 50% of the appearance. Like, I think it was kind of high. So I don't think I'm too concerned about that, because honestly, we're talking about just the period of time from now, early October, until really the January window. And then if Juve wants to decide to act and bring in another name, that can push that further back on Danilo. Right now, Danilo still isn't in a starting scenario, so I'm not really concerned with this automatic renewal and the appearances. Like, he's still further down the pecking order, so I'm not terribly concerned there. But it's something to keep tabs on for sure.
It's the first thing I thought of.
What I said.
Could he not also leave in January? There's also that. So if he leaves in January,
and I think he kind of put that to rest a bit.
I don't see
that
himself,
unless he was just feeding, the fans the typical PR response and whatnot. But in terms of this, Giuntoli, like, anybody that's concerned about that,
no,
you just really got to look at the business so far that's been done and ask yourself, is Giuntoli going to take that situation out of his hands?
No. He's going to go tell Motta, like, sit this guy down.
I'm going to be like, I think
that's why I think we'll see more cabal coming into CB now, especially not only because he can, but now because you don't want Danilo playing too much.
Yeah, I just can't see Giuntoli not being in full control of that situation and letting it get to a point where this guy gets automatic renewal. No. So I have no worries there. But in terms of our attack, this is one of the things that obviously main focus. You could see there, Juve's attack finally set. Everyone's got this feeling after Leipzig that maybe that's the match that kind of turns the switch, and now we're dialed in, and now we can really, really get after it, and maybe now found a little bit of extra courage, even against a parked bus. Conceição, there was calls for him after a great appearance to sit Nico down against that match in Leipzig. Obviously, unfortunate situation with Nico going down, injured, but Conceição comes in again, shows what he's all about, set to get the start tomorrow against Cagliari. Is our attack finally set to unleash? Do you think that now the catalyst has been set with that game against Leipzig and you expect us to be guns blazing? Or do you think the bus puts us right back with the frustrations we had before? What are you thinking, Luca?
The last 5 years have just told me that it's going to go right back to what we expect. But I mean, look, knowing Motta and everything that we've seen up to now, I could be completely wrong. It could honestly just set us off and we might just swoop another 3-0 win. But, I don't know which one I expect. It could be either or. It's a 50-50 for me.
All right. Trim, is the attack ready to go full throttle or what?
I wouldn't say full throttle because it's going to depend on the opponent, really. And Serie A in general, you could just see the quality. This is actually crazy to me. Is like, I just think Serie A as a whole, the smaller teams aside, I know that, player-wise, they may not stack up to some of these other guys like Leipzig or some of these other teams in Europe, but like the quality of the defending is just so much better. It's more organized. So Serie A defense as a whole and game plan they'll game plan against us to sit back and force us to try to be creative. So I feel like it just depends on the team and what they present us tactics-wise. But I wouldn't say it's going to be like full blown, like we're going to score and bag 3 goals a game starting from tomorrow. I think it's just going to be based on the opponent. And tomorrow I actually expect a pretty scrappy game. So I wouldn't say no, not full throttle just yet, but it's up to Motta to figure out how to break down these low blocks. That's for sure.
Yeah. Lucci, think the confidence is there now in the attack coming off Leipzig?
I do think like the morale must be at an all-time high after that. like you got Vlahovic going back-to-back games with goals, Consao going back-to-back games with goals. Coop is finally getting into the, the Coop that we've seen before with Atalanta. Like, I mean, yes, injuries kind of suck and they screw things up, but these guys, if the morale's high and the chemistry's there, fuck, how can they not score? The talent is there, man. There's no way, like, they should be able to get it done. I don't care how it gets done. If it's ugly, it's ugly, but just get it done. I think they can.
Yeah.
I think they can.
We should.
So I'm going to be positive today. I'm going to say we're bagging 2 tomorrow.
Oh, take it easy. We'll get to predictions. Take it easy. With the attack, though, like, yeah, I think there's going to be definitely some more confidence. Vlahovic coming off that performance will help him tremendously. But again, it's going to change completely. And like I said, it's like Jekyll and Hyde, because the game we're expecting against Cagliari brings to the forefront all his struggles and shortcomings, right? They have to find a way to go against that low defensive line and still get this guy into the situations where he does well, and that's facing goal. And like I said, it's going to be up to him as well. He's going to have to move out of there. Can't just sit and wait and stand with that last defender. Like, you're going to have to back out. You're going to have to come out, collect, maybe get yourself in a situation where you could turn and face goal and maybe have a rip like you did against Leipzig. And Cope Miners is a perfect guy to assist you with that, because he could be the one attacking the space when you drop out of it, and he'll keep defenders honest as well. Also, how Mota uses the wingers, they're going to have to, and he did it 2 matches ago with Juve'S. It was the same match Rui was out there, and yeah, offensively on the ball, Rui struggled. So it kind of killed a lot of it. But Juve'S moved inside and got closer to the striker as well. That changes everything as well. Makes a big, big difference. So there's a few things. It's going to rely a lot more on Mota, I think, and the setup. But overall, I think this attack is on the verge of breaking through. They just have to do it. They have to do it against a team that plays like this tomorrow.
Yeah.
If they come out and get it done convincingly, sky is the limit. And we're off to the races, in my opinion.
And then international break.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And God forbid, knock on wood, everybody comes back perfectly fine, all right?
Dusan
But
will be rested.
this game,
One positive.
you guys got about 10 minutes, I believe, Lucci and Luca, okay?
Oh, God.
Yeah. Relax.
Take it easy, Luca.
Relax.
That was terrible.
Dude, Bucci, Lucci, Luca, come on. Give me a break. Okay,
I'm fine with it. Let's
Juve
move on.
with your burner account, Daniele Bucci.
He's not in the comments today.
He's a beauty, man. Bucci,
I thought that was
Bucci's
a
beauty.
fake person.
Okay? Cagliari, you guys here's a kicker. We're hearing Cagliari is likely to set up in a 4-2-3-1 tomorrow.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
it.
That would be a big shock. What I expect to see, 3-4-1-2. And I think because of Bremer not being there, I don't think he's going to go. I don't think that Davide Nicola, who's a smart guy, is going to go with just a one single forward up top. I think he's going to pair 2. And I think he's going to go 3-4-1-2. It still turns to 5 in the back, but he's got more options on the counter and will likely look to spread us out at the back without having Bremer, who could easily rule out one of those guys. So I'm thinking 3-4-1-2. There are some shouts that 4-2-3-1 is what he's going to be looking to do. And in the midfield, Makumbu and Marin are expected to hold the double pivot roles for them. And then he's got Luvumbo could occupy left wing position. And then Gaetano playing centrally with Zortea on the right. Zortea would also be one to watch. Kind of drives a lot of their counters. This is what we expect, though. Clamp down and counter. They're going to look to hit us on counters. We just got to control the game, and we got to just swarm them. And we got to be courageous about it and brave, because sometimes I feel like these games, the first half for me is going to tell it all for Juve. If we're as wasteful as we have been in these other park the bus games in the first half, it's going to be a long day and it's going to be a problem. But if we come out with the right outset and we're at home, packed house, get after it right away. Okay? Have no fear. The defense has been doing their job. Go at it. And I think like Leipzig, Jesus, you just, like we said, you could have got obliterated there in that game. The second half was wide open. But you stood there. You went toe-to-toe. Obviously, if Leipzig was a little more clinical, could have got away from us easily.
Yeah.
But you went toe-to-toe. Now, you're toe-to-toe with a team that's going to allow you the ball and allow you to probably control 66% of that ball. Punish them. Punish them. Because the last time, our first half, with 66% possession, we got 2 shot attempts. Not good enough.
No.
So get after them. Get after Cagliari. In terms of their probable lineup, Scoffet, Zappa, Mina, Luperto, Ober, Macumbu, Marin, we talked about as the pivots. Sortea, Gaetano, Luvumbo, across with Piccoli up top. They're still claiming it's 4-2-3-1. I think you'll see a slight alteration there into 3-4-1-2. For Juve, hey, epic match coming off of Leipzig. This could easily be a banana peel match when you've exhausted so much in that game and so many emotions, right? Does anybody see it being a banana peel game? We'll talk about that in the prediction side of things. As far as the lineup, we know Weah's still out, Adzic, Milik 3 months there, and now we lost Bremer. What we're expected to see on the pitch, Di Gregorio, Savona, Kalulu, Gatti, Cambiaso, Locatelli, Douglas Luiz, Conceição, Cole Miners, Yildiz, and Vlahovic. I love that lineup. You're going into international break, big 3 points in the league, bring yourself right back in striking distance. Yeah, I'm all for this lineup. Wouldn't change a damn thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a really strong lineup. I like the fact that Luiz is going to get in there to pair with Luca. I think Luca can help kind of settle him down because obviously, as we mentioned and touched on earlier, like when he came in right away, he looked really shaky with the ball, especially after the handball incident. It was right off the hop, but just a lot of key passes, like basic 2-foot, 3-foot passes. He was like turning it over to the other team, and I hope that he can kind of settle in and Luca can get him settled down tomorrow and just change the fortunes a bit and just get him going.
I think Luiz is going to have a good game.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have a really good game. And yes, Thuram is available. And we're definitely not going to forget about him. And he will get his opportunities as well. I actually expect him to come into this game.
I was going to
say, if I had to guess, it's probably going to be around the 60-minute. I don't think you're going to see a full game from Locatelli. I don't think we're going to need it. No. Based on the prediction I'm about to give you. But we'll get to key stats. We'll get everybody's predictions real quick here. So key stats going into this one. Juve have won 12 of their last 14 Serie A matches with 1 draw and 1 loss in there against Cagliari, scoring at least 2 goals in this 12 games during this period. And Juve have won each of their last 7 home games against Cagliari, keeping a clean sheet in 5 of those matches. Okay, guys, time to put our money where our mouth is and hit us with the predictions. Final score, 2 tiebreakers. Do we add another clean sheet to this streak in the home matches against Cagliari? We're going to start this off with Trimboli. With the...
I'm going to go with a 2-0 scoreline for Juve. I'm going to say Vlahovic gets 1 and Conceição gets the other one. So the 2 guys that scored in the Champions League game, I had them in that game as well. So second tiebreaker, we'll go with I always like to go with the yellow cards. So let's say
tell me you read my notes, Trim. Like what's going on?
Let's say no, I won't go with the yellows. What I'll do is PK. We get a PK, and I think Vlahovic, that's how he bags his goal. So I'll go Vlahovic and Chico as the goal scorers. 2-0 scoreline, PK.
All right. Lucci, is that the exact same prediction?
It's very similar. So as we were talking about stats and whatnot, I was looking at this squad that we're coming up against tomorrow. And like I can't tell you who half of these players are. So I'm going with, you know what? Now, just to go away from Trim, I'm going to go with a 3-0 win. I'm going to go, I think Coop finally bags one tomorrow. I'm going with my boy Coop. I have some faith. And I'm gonna steal the yellow cards. I'm gonna give over 4 cards. Over 4 cards.
Okay. Luca.
God damn, you guys suck. Literally everything I thought of.
I had to adjust on the fly because of Trim.
And now I need to adjust a second time on the fly.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm gonna stick to my 2-0. I don't think we go to 3. I'll stick 2-0 for Juve. I think I was gonna say Coop for a goal, and I'll stick to that. I think Coop gets his first. And
Okay. All right.
do I need to say the second one? I should probably pick somebody. Let's say Duzan. That's a safe bet. So
Okay.
Coop and Duzan. And I think it's under 3 yellow cards, actually, because I think it's going to be a very boring game.
Under 3, okay.
No physical aspect whatsoever.
That's low.
Well, they're
Under
going to
3
have
is very
to,
low.
Cagliari's going to have to really flood the middle of the pitch, and it could lead to some cards in there, some
think so.
some challenges. They're going to be fighting hard to
I can already see
preserve.
Gatti picking one up too.
But I'm gonna go-
get a little chippy.
It's either we score 3 or we score none, right? So, fuck, I want 3. So I'm going to go with 3. I don't see us conceding to Cagliari tomorrow. I just don't see it. So I'm going to go 3-0. And I'm going to say Juve'S finds himself on the score sheet in this game. So I'm going to say Juve'S scores. And I'm going to say that we finish with above 62% possession.
Ooh,
At
nice.
final time at
accurate.
full time. So
see that.
62% possession over will be my second tiebreaker, and that's it. Yeah, just get the damn job done. Break that fucking bus, okay? Because we're gonna see it.
Yeah.
Lucci, Luca, you guys good? You gotta say goodbye.
Thanks for having me. It was a blast as always.
Good
boys.
timing.
Always a pleasure. Trim and myself are hanging around. Everybody get those likes up. It's time for Storm the Barn. All right?
Okay.
You guys, take care, fellas. Always
Forza
a pleasure.
Juve, boys. See you
Thanks,
bright and
boys.
early.
Forza Juve. All right, Trim, you ready for Storm the Barn or what?
Let's do it. Let's rock
Let's do
man.
Let's do it. Let's see what we got in here, okay? So, first up, Beccaloggi's got in January one of them. Scalvini, Lovato, Pirola, Tommaso Berti. All right.
Well, right off the hop, Scalvini, I just can't see it happening because coming off injury, Atalanta player, I can see them just wanting to work him back into the roster, right?
I don't think we want to deal with Atalanta anymore.
No, that too. Right off the hop.
Just in general, I think I've had enough for at least a few seasons before we even think about that route again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lovato,
The others-
Pirola, Berti. To be honest, I'd be okay with Pirola. Like, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Lovato as well.
Interesting players. Yeah. Wouldn't be opposed to it. I mean, I guess it would just really depend on price point and, are they actually available? Would the teams be willing to listen? Something along those lines, right? But some interesting options for sure.
Or should we move in January for more established central defender? Kim Min-jae, the Korean monster. Nchape, Leverkusen, Kunde. Like, where are the price tags?
That's my whole thing is right off the hop when you read those names, it's the price tag. It's gonna be too high for us, right? And especially let alone bringing in one of those guys and when everybody's healthy after Bremer comes back, then you have to deal with that going into next year. But just for the immediacy, it's just too expensive. I think those names, especially Kim and Kunde, like Jules Kunde, there's no way that we would be able to get that guy. So.
No, we've got to realize we're going to be doing a little bit of work in the winter. Like, the attack's going to be a priority to get some help there, and the back will as well. I think it's going to be nothing flash by any means, nothing flash whatsoever. It's just going to be the right type of deal, and it might be something that maybe they'll try to find something that's not really long term, right? Or commitment based.
Yeah.
Rugani on a recall is something that we should have probably potentially talked about, because I'm open to it. I'm open to it. Save your money, and if it means splashing a bit for the attack, that's probably a route I would go. What do you think about that?
Well, so it's funny that you mentioned that, because I know we talked about this earlier in the week. We just kind of heard some whispers about it. So I know that it's not something that teams typically do unless they're forced to out of injury, because it kind of doesn't give like a bad rep with the team that you're loaning the player out to. But it's kind of like, yeah, like you want the player to stay there for the season or however long the loan is, right? And kind of to work towards the agreement. But in this case, like, I mean, we all had no problems with Rugani staying. And we all kind of said, I remember at the time when they did loan him out, we kind of thought it was just a strange move, because we just assumed he'd, fit right in, because he never complains about minutes. He just spot duty kind of stuff. So I wouldn't be opposed to it at all, to be honest with you. And like we're touching on, like, it saves us money from having to go out and buy someone. And for me, he'd be the perfect kind of player to fill that role as a rotational piece. And then, like we said, we just work on worrying about up top, trying to get another striker behind Dusan and Milik, or even another forward in general, just to help out the attack.
Yeah. So to answer the question here, is Rugani having playing time at Ajax? Right now, he's got 12 minutes in a Europa League appearance. He's got 8 minutes in a Europa League qualifying match, and he's got 1/2 in the Eredivisie. So that's really it. He's got a total of 65 minutes across 3 appearances. So he's not playing a bunch. But it wouldn't affect me, because like I said, if you were looking at making a pickup potentially at the back that's going to see you have to come out of pocket, I'd probably recall him. Be just fine. I know that there's concerns about the ball playing ability and how crucial that is for Mota. Look at what Mota did with Bremer, who in my opinion was the worst ball playing center back of all of our guys last season. Yeah. I don't see any reason why Rugani, at the level he was prior, wouldn't increase his ability under Mota. But, and again, I'm not saying he'd turn into something he isn't even close to, but it would be strong enough to get us by. And again, allow you to bolster the attack, because we've got to bring in a striker. You've got to bring in a striker in January.
That's a must. Yeah.
Bottom line. Talked about it earlier. It's the one thing that we could say was missed and a shortcoming out of the last Mercado. The Mercado still scored highly. Fantastic work. But we all said probably not the safest having only Milik behind. Vlahovic is what it is, right? The rest of the work, fantastic. We keep it moving though. Gugino, and reminder, guys, get the likes up. Let's go, everybody that's with us here, and not our standard time, but we're having fun this Saturday afternoon, all right? Get those likes up. Gugino had a should Juve assign Pogba a number now. It will be a quick cash grab from all his Oh, look at that. Look at Gugino Eddie firing in here. Listen, I don't know what the hell they're going to do. I don't know. That would be such a dick move, though, from the club to just be like, hey, Pogba's number, whatever, and we're going to get him back to 6. We're going to slot Danilo into a different number, buy the old school Pogba 6. And it's like, yeah, we just terminated his contract. It'd be such a dick move, man. Such a dick move.
It would be funny, though, just to raise some funds and, jersey sales. It would be pretty funny because people would definitely like swoop all over that. Like,
that is like the equivalent of somebody ordering a kit and then a player gets moved and like the store still sending it out even though the player's been like moved or whatever. It's like, yeah, here's your kit. Great. Thank you for that. Or after a number change and you order it before and then you get it and the player changes numbers. Holy smokes.
It's always
That's
tough,
why you always wait till after the preseason's over. Always wait. Always wait. Or it's a Juve. Is Thuram getting too little game time? He possibly has the highest ceiling in the midfield, but to reach that, he needs game time. Yeah, he's been injured, but should have at least 2 more starts. I argued the fact that I could have seen Thuram starting in the game against Leipzig. I thought it'd be a good game to have him in there, break things up, and he's pretty unique. He's got a great ability to drive the ball, carry it out of the midfield. All this doesn't change. He didn't get the start there. There's going to be a lot of games that will suit Thuram getting in there. And right now, the midfield's loaded. There's a ton of There's a ton of mouths to feed. Again, it's going to say a lot too, and him reaching that ceiling is breaking through. He's going to get his moments to start. When he gets them, you got to hit it. You just, right now, these guys can't afford to miss, right? But I do believe Malta is going to try and have as many guys feeling as confident as possible while trying to obviously not sacrifice points domestically and still try to chase some objectives in European competition. So it's all about that balance. Right now, I think he's doing a great job. I don't think anybody's going to complain. We did have some arguments where Thuram should have probably been in a couple games, but you know what? I'm not concerned. He will get his Fagioli all of a sudden. Like, Fagioli's coming off probably, arguably, his best showing ever in a Juventus kit. And he's going to be on the bench tomorrow. It's just when you get your minutes, you make them count, and you just keep cementing yourself as this can't ignore player for Malta. Because there's a lot of competition. It's just, that's the way it's going to be. Is he getting too little game time? Maybe up until now. You can argue you get a little bit more, but overall, we can't complain if we're sitting where we are with results, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. I was going to say that you basically touched on all the points. The only thing that I will add to that is that it's too little game time in the sense that because there were a few games where Mata didn't use all 5 subs. So if he had used all 5 subs in those games, Thuram would have got in, but he didn't. Like, I can't remember if it was the last game in Serie A, he only used 3 subs, but he used them at 3 different times, so he couldn't make all 5, or he didn't make all 5. So, and in that game, I remember specifically thinking to myself as I was watching that would have liked Thuram to come in, but he just didn't get him in there. So, yeah, it just goes back to we have so many players in the middle of the park that it's going to be hard to get them all even distribution of minutes, but because of the amount of competitions we have and because of Mota's coaching style and liking the rotation, I'm not too concerned. There's always going to be 1 or 2 of these guys that you're going to feel like aren't getting enough minutes. Fagioli being one of them even. And it's funny you mentioned him because I said in our pregame show for the last game that he was going to be my focus for the last Serie A match, and he played well and obviously got the start against Leipzig, and then the rest is history. 96 or 97% pass accuracy, and the one missed pass was when he kicked it out of bounds because one of the Leipzig players got injured. Like, just I didn't even realize that watching the game, and then when I went back and saw the stats, I was like, yeah, because he just every time he had the ball, it was just perfect. It was just so seamless, and so there you go. Like, just all you can ask from these guys is just when they get in, exactly what you said. Just when they get in, just put in the work and show it, and then it's just gonna, maybe give Mota an extra little thought to think about for the next lineup.
Great touch here from P. Morton as well, is that with the RB match against Leipzig,
there we go.
The subs that we had to make for the early injuries changed everything, and maybe you do see a Thuram later on in that game. Like, that was just, like I said, absolute anomaly, completely wild game, and yeah, you just don't plan. You just don't plan for that, right? But it tells 100%. You, those matches tell you a lot. They tell you a lot about your team, the character. And that was a massive, massive boost for me in terms of my sense of belief in this squad and what could potentially happen. So let's see. But in Italy is a lot different than Europe. So tomorrow we'll see that. We're going from this high, one of the wildest games we've seen. You're going like full throttle end to end with Leipzig. And now you're just going to be like, we're camped out 25 yards from goal and can't find a goddamn breakthrough because every man is behind the ball. So get ready for it, everybody. That's what we're expecting. But hey, Gonna have some fun. 3:30 a.m. my time. I want to see all of you on the live watch along. I'll try to get in as early as possible for a little pregame show, but my God, 3:30 is a little bit of a feat just to show up for that time. So let's see. Is it possible in January we make 2 signings, a striker and center back? I believe it is, depending on what the situation is. You could potentially find like a 6-month loan too, right? So I'm just going to say signings, maybe not. But 2 players brought in January is definitely doable. Definitely doable. It could even be a loan recall, right? So
yeah. I think for me it would just depend, like for the center back position, like we mentioned, Jarell Hato from I think is it Ajax, the 18-year-old. Yeah. So like if it's someone like him, he's a young guy, but that's the thing. Like, do we really want to put that much pressure on a young guy at 18 years old to come in and he's not going to be the mainstay CB, but he's going to be asked to play some big minutes, right? So to your point, we're better off maybe just either recalling Rugani, or like you said, maybe it's another option as a 6-month loan, just temporary as a stabilizer piece just to come in. But I can see them possibly signing 2 players, like a CB and a striker. Striker for sure. We discussed it's like non-negotiable, has to be done.
Yeah.
But I do think they could also make that CB signing. It's just, again, it depends on the options. And I know someone else in the comments mentioned about Facundo Gonzalez as also being a possible recall, or even Muharemovic. So, I mean, if for whatever reason they decide to leave Rugani at Ajax, there's those 2 guys as well. But again, they're younger. So I think we'd prefer the experience of Rugani and someone who has been comfortable playing that role in those minutes over the last handful of years with us, right? Like he's just always been that 4th, 5th option. So he knows what to bring and what to expect. So we'll see.
Yeah, there's Thiago Jallo, there's Rugani, there's Muharemovic.
Even Jallo. It's funny you mentioned Jallo. I forget about him too, because he has not played a single minute from what I know at Porto.
I don't think it's been brutal there.
Not good. Not good.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what goes down. Let's say we get David in January. Can he play in the Champions League? So to my knowledge, they allow you to make changes. There's 1 change session for your Champions League list. Okay. The kicker here that we brought up the last show is that I'm getting mixed reports on this whole non-European slot, because there's a ton of people saying that it's 2 slots, 2 per season. That's it. You never get that 1 spot back. But there's doubts on not really loopholes, but the ability to make another acquisition and free up a 2nd slot again mid-season. Because there's those that say that's it. It's done. You can't do it. But it's funny, because when you challenge these guys that are putting out rumors like David potentially coming in January, they don't have the answers. And they're like kind of not saying anything. So they're either stirring the pot and know that there's no possibility, or there's some type of way, some type of loophole. But it's hard to find definitively 100% answer to freeing up the non-European slot. David in January may not actually be an option because he's non-European. And we use those 2, and they're registered. And again, this plays into a re-registration and an adjustment that could be made to the list in Champions League. But not just that, Serie A. They're saying that list is locked. Well, we see. So might not actually go down anyways. Thoughts on the Garnacho rumors? I don't think I'd bring him to Juve. He feels like a spoiled diva. At least he definitely looks like one. Wow. Okay. Strong words. Trim. Garnacho.
That's a piping hot take right there. So Garnacho, the player, I mean, from what I've seen, albeit I don't watch a whole lot of Man U just because I'm not very interested in watching that team much. More so hate watching them to lose, let's say. But from what I've seen, obviously he's got a lot of talent. But I don't know. Like what we have right now, because he plays, I believe, the left side, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So he plays the same side as Yildiz. So essentially, what we're going to bring him in, and what are we going to do with Yildiz? Move him as a vice coop, or like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I get these guys can flip to either side, left or right, and play on their inverted wing and whatnot. But for the price, it's more the price tag. I think that money could be better spent somewhere else. So when I think about, whenever people pitch players as ideas, like oftentimes I'm always thinking, okay, what's going to be the cost? Obviously, more often than not, they're good players, but it's what's the cost, and can we use that money better somewhere else? So for me, in the initial, I would say no, not right now.
Yeah.
Especially because we have that position covered with Keenan Yildiz.
So he could play both wings, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, for sure.
He might play more on the left side. I don't know which one he plays more, but he can play the opposite side as well. He's got 10 appearances this season, 4 goals, 3 assists. So 6 Premier League matches with a goal and assist there, 2 Europa League matches with no contribution, 68 minutes in those 2 appearances. Community Shield, 31-minute performance with a goal, and then one EFL Cup appearance, 2 goals, 2 assists. So, I mean, I think he's a good player. When that rumor popped up, I wasn't like, oh yeah, hell yeah. I was kind of like, doesn't seem like something Juntali would do. Yeah. That was kind of like the first thing that kind of just like, it doesn't feel like he doesn't strike me as a Juntali player, and it doesn't feel like a Juntali move. That's just, and I don't know how I put it all together. For me, it doesn't feel like anything. And it could have also been because of the fact when I saw it from the Sun, as far as who was posting it. So maybe that's what also guided my subconscious into just not feeling anything about it. That might have been it. But yeah, I think he's a good player. I'm just not, I'm not crazy about it. About it. And to be honest, if I could he looks weird. He's just a weird looking dude to me. And I don't know if I'm ready to watch that day in, day out and cover that, So maybe that plays a part too.
Yeah.
What is the answer to beat Cagliari tomorrow? Long shots by Cope Miners, Locatelli, and Vlahovic? I'll tell you my answer. And it's the same frustrations in the other bus matches. Tempo, sense of urgency, and actually sending bodies forward. Swarm them. Pin them back and just send relentless pressure. Keep asking questions of them. Don't waste an entire half of football. Don't be patient. Take what you have and do so quickly. If you have a shooting lane from the top of the area, take your shot. Run in for the rebound. Create problems. If you have an early cross, send the early cross in. Don't wait for them to get set up. Just put them under. Trust your defense at the back to clamp down and shut down the counters. But get after it. And an early goal, not even just an early goal, but the first goal means you're in cruise control with a team that wants to play that way. So force their hand. Those are the keys to me. It's just speed, pace, tempo, urgency, and just pinning them. Like, send the pressure. What do you think, Trim?
Literally not much to add to that, because that's exactly it. And just, like for me, I've always said with this Juventus squad, first goal is everything. Because in every game that we've scored first, we've won the game. The games that we didn't score, 0-0 draws. So that's it. It's just get the lead, opens up the other team, forces them to open up, and go from there. I find that we may concede a goal, and eventually we will. It's not like we're going to keep this clean sheet record forever, but I just strongly feel that because of the way we play, like the first goal is everything. And once we get that first goal, we force everything we force the other team to open up to everything, and it helps us a lot. So we may concede late or whatnot, but first goal is everything. That's it.
And man, we didn't score first against Leipzig, but
Yes.
Man, but that's what made that game so much beautiful is two times you come back and once from down a man. That just, I don't care what anybody says, that sent shockwaves through the other teams in Italy and like the rivals and everything. And like I think it put not a target on us, but we definitely got more attention now, I think, moving forward from teams and everything, because we showed that even with about as much adversity as you could be faced with, they ain't backing down and they ain't going away. What did I say my expectation in this season was? I simply said, I want to be a pain in the ass for every team that faces us. Bottom line. And I love it. And I think that was huge, the fact that what we showed going down twice. So now there's like next to nothing for fear in me with this team. Bremer, losing him is a little bit of this fear that's kind of there, and how is this going to play out throughout the duration of the season remaining. But you know what? Maybe we just got to get to January, everybody. So from here to January, I'm actually not that concerned, and I'll feel okay. And in January, you can bolster that sector as well as up top, and then we'll see where we go. But I think we definitely got more eyes now, and we'll get more attention in these next remaining matches in Europe. But that was massive to see, and we needed to see that, and the players needed to see that. They needed to go through that. So now they understand, and now they know what they're capable of, right? And that's why. Is Juve's attack finally set? Will the attack finally unleash? Will they have all this confidence and take it to a team that's parking it? I think if you don't come out of that game against Leipzig and have a little more confidence in opening up and really getting after it, I don't think you'll ever find it if you can't do it after that game. What do you think, Trim? Like, 100%. I would say, yeah, we're gonna start really getting after it, and I think the attack will shine now.
Yeah, no, for sure, exactly. And to touch on the last game, like I called it a statement win because that's exactly what it was. It gets people to notice now, and again, we know Serie A teams as a whole, they clamp down defensively, but it doesn't mean that our offense is going to dry up. It's just now we really are going to start to see, okay, they can start to turn it on. Because, yeah, they went down early against Leipzig, but the thing was they play more of our style of football. So they were left to open up their defense as well for us. So it kind of was the perfect medicine for us to kind of, stir up that comeback, so to speak, right? In Serie A, if a team did that to us, it would be harder for us to come back because they clamp down. But again, it doesn't mean our offense is drying up. Like we're gonna start to bag goals and figure it out, and it's just a matter of going out there and executing starting tomorrow with this low block. Cagliari is gonna show us, and Motta's had more ample time now and more opportunity to kind of figure it out, and he's gonna have a nice little surprise for us tomorrow. So let's hope that they can.
Well, we're always used to little surprises from him. So like even in the lineup, we got the projected lineup. We went over that earlier. I'll give it to you guys again. But it's Di Gregorio, it's Savona, it's Kalulu, it's Gatti. You're gonna have Cambiaso, Locatelli, Douglas Luiz, Conceição, Colt Miners, Yildiz, and Vlahovic. This is according to Di Marzio. So again, we want to see that lineup. But don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if it's not that. Calogero saying, does Cagliari need to score first then for Juve to get going? If that's the case, then we have failed from the outset. And this is what I was talking about, like one of my keys to beating the bus is the intensity, the approach, the mindset that you enter this match in. So if that's what the case and we need that, then we have not lived up to what we should have been doing from the outset. So no, if we need a goal, if we need adversity to get going, no, that's a problem.
Well, so it's funny that you say that because we have not taken risks against teams that play the low block. So all we're asking, or all Motta should be asking them, is just go for it tomorrow. What's the worst thing that can happen is you set up counterattacks from the opposing team, but we feel confidently in our defense. So it's like, why not take a little risk tomorrow and see what happens, because they hadn't done it in the previous 0-0 draws and even some of the matches that teams were sitting back on us. So that literally all it takes is for us to risk a little bit more, I'm comfortable with that because we haven't seen what can happen, either positive or negatively, to like with that, right? So we just got to risk a little bit and see what happens and go from there.
And Juve Cornicast saying I haven't seen the urgency from the start. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
not
Like
enough.
I want to see a team punished for thinking that they could just give us that much of the ball. I don't want it to be easy for them. That's why I say, like, everything that they give you, whatever little bit they do give you, if they're going to give you early crosses, take the early crosses in. If they're going to give you 1v1s on one side, take the 1v1s. If they're going to force you through the middle, get to the middle, take some shots from outside. Like, but you got to ask questions. So whatever they give you, take it, but do so quickly. Don't let them set up, and definitely test them. Like, shots in general, I feel like we back off. Like, sometimes they're just trying to almost walk it in. Take the shots. Take the shots. I want to see you guys. If it gets blocked, whatever, I'm fine with it. But fire away. Fire away. All right? So, the espresso match, and Pino coming in here say, get the espresso ready for the morning. Still amped up from Wednesday, boys. Let's carry it into that one. But, man, I tell you, I'm going from that Champions League game to 3:30 a.m. against a bus. Gonna be hard to carry that emotion through on Wednesday, but who knows? Maybe we get a surprise. And like I said, maybe the attack. Hey, maybe we are off to the races, moving forward. One thing's for sure: the Bremer situation sucks, but I'm still carrying a lot of faith and a lot of belief and a lot of confidence in this squad. Mota's done a tremendous job in managing the minutes, the men, and the players. Some of these guys that were completely written off, even by me, like, I'll be the first to admit, man, they're all delivering.
Yeah.
So I am extremely excited. I'm going to finish by just saying, because we obviously know some of the comments that have been made out there. Another manager, ex-Juve manager, talking about favorites and throwing in. Obviously, we know what he's trying to do, trying to deflect the obvious. They sit in top right now. Win tomorrow brings us 1 point beyond. Who is, in fact, the favorites at this early juncture of the season? Because a lot said it's Inter's to lose. Some said Napoli because of Conte effect. Some said Juve. Trim, right now for you, who are the favorites for the Scudetto?
Right now, for me, it's going to stay and remain the same as it was prior to the start of the season, and I said it was Inter. And the only reason being is because they brought pretty much the whole team back, so you know what to expect of them. The way that they're playing in their form right now and where they are in the standings is where they should be, and albeit they're not first, if I'm not mistaken. I think Napoli's still ahead, but that's why, for me, Inter is right now the favorites. Now, that being said, however, I was a big Motta guy. I was really happy when they brought him in. Giuntoli did God's work this summer, bringing in all the players he did and changing this roster. So, of course, there's part of me that wants to say Juve should be up there in terms of with the elite, in terms of being favorites. But at this current moment, I have to be honest with myself and just say that Inter still are the favorites. Now, that being said, the favorites don't always win in the end. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping our boys end up pulling it through. But as it stands right now, I'm going with Inter still as the favorites.
So they got the job done on a 10-man Torino.
Yes.
I don't know if any of you noticed that red card.
Oh,
similar situation in some Juve games. Just saying. They edged them out 3-2. Okay, but there was an 86-minute PK for Torino that made it closer. Inter will sit at 14 points. Napoli sit at 16 currently. Juve at 12. Udinese at 13 points. But don't take too much out of that because they've had they're just winning the games they need to be against the opponents, okay? But that's going to level out, all right?
Yeah.
Juve at 12 points. We play tomorrow, Cagliari. We can go to second, 1 point behind Napoli. For me, it is still the same. It is Inter's to lose. Napoli and Juve will compete to the bitter end, in my personal opinion. Milan sitting at 11 points. I still think they could have a say if they get a couple things right. They're a funny team. I think they have decent players, but they have streaky players. Players. And I think that's kind of going to be the detriment no matter who really coaches that team. They've got streaky guys. It's Inter's to lose. Napoli and Juve will be competing until season's end. I am going to say, though, that... where is it here? I saw it earlier. I'm trying to find it. Juve Cornercast saying Scudetto. Oh, I hope so. Somebody was saying, I said this at the beginning of the season. I'm trying to find the comment now. It might have disappeared. But I said it from the beginning. It's our Scudetto. And I feel it. You know what? I hope you're right. I don't know what happened to the comments. Like it got deleted here. But
I see one from Jerry. He said in preseason, he's like, this is our Scudetto this year, which is a fair shout. I don't know. Like I said, I'm always quick to write off Inter, Napoli, especially Napoli with Conte. Like I was one that said, not too impressed. I know he, won competition, but I have to admit they're looking a lot stronger than I thought. That being said, when we played them, I feel like we missed out on opportunities that we could have had to really punish them, and it ended a 0-0 draw. So I think the return leg will be interesting to watch. And now the game on the 27th of October against Inter, that will be the game for me that I'm nervous about not having Bremer. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't win that game, but that's one game where you circle the calendar and say, because of this injury that happened this week, you say, damn, that's one I wish we had Bremer there. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
And did everybody see Barzagli asked about picking players? And he had Gatti or Acerbi and picked Acerbi. How do we feel about that one?
I think he's doing it to be, kind of politically correct. And I think he's going just based on...
Is that your pick, though? Over Gatti?
No, I would pick Gatti all day, every day, but it's because I'm biased and I don't like
at least you say it.
But to be fair, like I've never rated Acerbi. Like I don't know. I'm
gonna be honest. Acerbi does nothing for me. I know he's been a part of that squad there, but like he just never has done anything for me. He's a nasty defender. Like he's big, he's tall, he's pretty strong, and he plays with a little bit of a nastiness to him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is. I've never rated him, man. And I feel like even when you look at Inter, it's more the collective. And the same could kind of probably be said for Gatti now and not, but like now I see more to Gatti individually.
Yes.
Individually, he's jumped leaps and bounds from last season. Mm-hmm. Is that the collective? Is that the individual? To be honest, it's got to kind of be both. Be both because it's got to work. I think Acerbi found himself in a situation that allowed him to be put on a higher pedestal. But as a standalone defender, I don't put him very high. With Gatti, I don't know if we can really rate him as a standalone defender until maybe if there's ever another team or whatnot. But as an individual, he's jumped leaps and bounds. But Acerbi, I remember the Acerbi from Lazio that I thought absolutely nothing of.
Exactly.
And now I just feel like he's in a better situation that's allowing him to maybe look better.
Yes.
But I can't say the same for Gatti because last year he didn't look anything like this season. The team's playing better, but the defense has been our backbone, and he's been a part of it. So it's tough to say. In the end, just call me biased. I'm taking Gatti. Okay, forget it. There, Acerbi. There. And we'll finish on that. A nice day to Acerbi, all right? But in all seriousness, everybody, very, very excited about this season and Juventus. The next one up is Cagliari. I hope you guys had fun on this show. Again, not our standard time by any means, but great showing. So we always thank you guys for the support. Live chat's been fantastic. We had Lucci and Luca on earlier, and Trim stuck around till the end. Trim, what, 6:30 a.m.? The club's having a watch party. Are you going? It's an early one.
So I know, and I was laughing to myself because I was surprised that they're doing it, but that's when I get to the rink, man. I start putting on my gear at 6:30, and I get on the ice at 7. So that's why I was saying I'm gonna have it on as I'm getting changed. I'll have it on my phone, and then I'm probably gonna actually bring my phone onto the bench and just have it playing. And then when I come off and I'm taking a break, getting a breather, some water, just have it on and just wait and see.
Or have it on and set like earpieces wireless and put one in under the helmet while you're cruising around so you can at least listen to the call.
You know what? I might have to go AirPod tomorrow. That would actually be really funny. I won't even be paying attention to what's going on the ice. I'm just gonna be listening in my earphone to see what the hell's going on. Probably start.
Well, even if you have one in, so you can at least hear what's going on the ice and be into the game. But that'd be priceless. That'd be class, man, class. But funny. You guys had a lot of fun, and man, we've got some technical. Like I said, there was no intro to the show. Man, I think there were some files lost. There's not going to be an outro. The ending's going to be abrupt here, but just know we love you, AJC Army. Thanks for the support. 3:30 a.m. my time. Watch along for this game. Hope to see you all there. As always, fino alla fine. Forza Juventus. Ciao tutti. Take care, everybody.